Some flights land without incident. Others test every limit of skill, machine, and luck. Today, we uncover the gripping story of Emirates Flight 521, a journey that began like any other, but would end in disaster. Emirates Flight 521. From routine landing to disaster, Emirates Flight 521 was in the final stage of its landing at Dubai International Airport. The weather appeared clear, though strong winds swept across the airfield. The runway was in sight, but something seemed wrong. The Boeing 777 was descending from a higher than normal altitude and at a faster speed than ideal. It passed over the designated landing zone without touching down. The aircraft was now very close to the ground, but the end of the runway was approaching rapidly. Neither a safe landing nor a smooth climb-out seemed possible. The jet was caught in a dangerous middle ground. Go around, the captain shouted. The pilots initiated the maneuver, and the aircraft began to climb. But moments later, it suddenly started to sink back toward the runway. What had begun as a routine approach was about to become one of the most dangerous landings in Emirates history. Inside, 300 passengers and crew members had no idea that their lives were about to hang in the balance. It was the morning of August 3, 2016, at 10:34 a.m. India time. Emirates Flight 521 departed from Trivandrum International Airport in Kerala. This was a regular service between the southern tip of India and Dubai, carrying 282 passengers and 18 crew members. Most of the passengers were of Indian origin, many traveling to the UAE for work and better opportunities. The aircraft, a 13-year-old Boeing 777, was large, modern, and reliable. Since its founding in 1985, Emirates had never lost a plane nor suffered a fatal accident. It consistently ranked among the top 10 safest airlines in the world. The flight climbed smoothly over the Arabian Sea, heading northwest toward the United Arab Emirates, but weather conditions in Dubai that day were unusual. A powerful high-pressure system had pushed the temperature to a blistering 49 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, two low-pressure systems were forming near the coastline, creating a clash between hot desert winds and cooler sea breezes. These opposing airflows met right above Dubai International Airport, creating sudden changes in wind speed and direction, a phenomenon known as wind shear. For pilots, wind shear is one of the most dangerous conditions to encounter during takeoff or landing. It can cause a sudden loss of airspeed, abrupt drops, or uncontrolled climbs, leaving mere seconds to react. On this approach, the crew of Flight 521 had no warning that such a threat awaited them. The captain, a highly experienced UAE national with over 7,400 flight hours, and his first officer, an Australian with around 8,000 hours, prepared for landing on runway 12 left. However, both ends of the runway were experiencing unusual tailwinds, around 13 knots, something rarely seen. This created a hazardous zone in the middle of the runway, exactly where they would be touching down. Two aircraft had already attempted to land before Flight 521 that afternoon, but both had been forced to go round after encountering the wind shear. Strangely, neither crew reported the reason to air traffic control, and ATC passed no warning to the Emirates pilots. As far as they knew, there would only be light to moderate winds. The approach looked normal at first. At 12:37 p.m. local time, the Boeing 777 was aligned perfectly over the runway at the correct speed and height. Then, events began to unfold with alarming speed. The captain flared the nose slightly too early, causing the plane to float above the runway for longer than it should. It began to drift past the touchdown zone. Runways have a marked touchdown area, about 900 meters long, where an aircraft must land to stop safely. Missing it usually means an immediate go-around. But the searing heat had raised the runway's surface temperature to 68 degrees Celsius, generating powerful upward air currents called thermals. Instead of descending, the jet seemed to hover. In seconds, the tailwind shifted to a headwind, increasing lift and making the plane float even longer. The captain tried repeatedly to bring the jet down, but it stayed just feet above the surface. A gust pushed the aircraft sideways. A sharp correction made the right landing gear brush the runway, but not fully touch down. Worried about running out of runway, the captain called for a go-around. Modern jets like the Boeing 777 are equipped with TOGA takeoff, go-around switches, which command the autopilot to add full thrust instantly. However, Toga is disabled the moment the landing gear senses weight on the wheels, even briefly, to prevent accidental takeoffs during rollout. Unaware that the wheels had momentarily touched, the captain pressed Toga. Nothing happened. The autothrottle stayed in landing mode, with engines idling. The pilots raised the nose and retracted the landing gear, believing the climb was underway. But the aircraft was losing speed rapidly. It climbed only to 85 feet before sinking again. Only when the wind shear warning sounded did the captain push the throttles forward manually. But by then, it was too late. The engines had not yet reached full power when the Boeing 777 slammed into the runway, this time with its landing gear retracted. Sparks showered behind the fuselage as the aircraft skidded for 800 meters before spinning 180 degrees and coming to a stop. Thick smoke and flames erupted from the engines and right landing gear area. The captain radioed, "Mayday, mayday, mayday. Commencing evacuation." Crash alarms sounded across the airport. Fire crews rushed to the scene. Inside, flight attendants waited for the evacuation command, while some passengers ignored safety instructions, opening overhead bins to retrieve bags. This blocked aisles and delayed the escape. Strong winds tore several emergency slides away or rendered them useless. Out of 10 exits, only 3 at the rear remained usable. Despite the chaos, passengers began sliding to safety as flames crept closer. Fire trucks arrived, but mistakenly parked in front of the exits, obstructing evacuees. Their focus on visible engine fires meant they missed flames hidden in the landing gear bay. The most dangerous of all. As the last passengers left, 3 people remained on board: the captain, the first officer, and the lead flight attendant. They were searching for a 7-year-old girl separated from her family. Unknown to them, she had already escaped through another exit and was reunited with her parents on the runway. Before the crew could escape, a massive fireball tore through the cabin, blowing a 15-meter section off the right wing. The debris crashed to the ground, fatally striking a firefighter. In just minutes, a routine landing had turned into a fight for survival, and a tragic chapter in Emirates history. If you found this story as gripping as I did, hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible aviation stories, and share this video so others can learn from the lessons of Flight 521. Your support helps keep these stories alive.